You never really know what's going to happen.
You got to be on your toes there.
That place is really tough.
You don't know what's going to be thrown at you.
Chaos and carnage.
Mayhem.
Things can get out of hand.
People are out of control
quickly.
Texas is wild. You can kind of let your guard down easy and get into trouble pretty quickly if you're not careful.
Oh, we got cars sideways. Big wreck here on the back stretch.
I feel like Texas bites. They want to bite you usually out of the race.
Chaos, carnage, and mayhem. Not to worry, it's only the middle race of round one of the playoffs for the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and it happens at Texas Motor Speedway. Practice and qualifying coming up for this afternoon's 300-miler here from TMS. Alongside Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Brad Daugherty, I'm Dave Burns, welcoming you to our broadcast today and looking at drivers who are in the playoffs, drivers who are out of the playoffs. Playoffs, the big focus this time of year, Brad, and after last week, it looks a little different than we started.
Yeah, that chaos and carnage that you had heard Justin Allgaier talk about shook up the playoff standings and the order quite tremendously. So, yeah, this is a big day. These guys have to come out and perform. There's some guys that are very comfortable, so you got to maintain as you go throughout the day, and then there's cut line opportunities, and you see Jeff Burton, Sam Mayer, Parker. Those guys. Everybody's got to do their best to make sure they get out of here with a good, clean finish. This racetrack, restarts are treacherous. You have to be smart, take care of your equipment, race hard, and hope you have an opportunity at the end of the day.
Looking at the points, there's a few drivers in the plus there, Junior. I'm looking at Austin Hill, who had a bad weekend last week. Plus 21, is he safe?
I don't think so. I mean, this is a very important race for our regular season champion, Austin Hill. A racetrack where he can come out of here with a really good result, go into the dangerous Roval next week. He doesn't want to go into there just 20 points up, right? He wants to build on that cushion. You definitely don't want to win the regular season and then be knocked out early in the playoffs, and that's where he's kind of sitting in a bit of a danger zone, if you will, just 21 points above. So he had a disastrous race last week that you mentioned. Don't want to have that repeat today because we had sort of the same scenario in the Cup Series playoffs with Martin Truex Jr., and Austin Hill doesn't want anything to do with that. He wants to keep cruising through these playoffs.
Typically very good on the mile and a half, so we'll see if that comes through this afternoon. You've looked at your weather app, and you know it is hot here in Texas. Scheduled high, perhaps 97 today, maybe 98 tomorrow. Right now, a nice, comfortable 82. Dale Jr., what is happening to this track when it gets hot like that? Is it one of those hot and slick places?
Well, I know it's probably not comfortable for the drivers, not comfortable for really anybody, tough for the fans and the grandstands, but when that track gets hot, that temperature of the surface goes up, it gets wide and slick, and it puts on a great show. 95-degree track temperature at the start of practice. That's going to just continue to climb throughout the day and should provide us with an excellent show. This racetrack has changed a lot, and there's a lot of criticism over the past several years about what type of racing we might see, but it's improved a lot over the last couple of trips. I'm excited about this weekend.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think the racing has gotten a little bit better, as you say. This racetrack goes through a transition, though. This weather in Texas, man, it's super hot in the summer. You know, we get some really cold winters here, so it's a little bit unpredictable. But you do know going down into turn 1 and 2, it is somewhat treacherous. You have to pay attention. You have to get through those corners. You have to get off 2 very well. All of these race car drivers know that, so got to mind your P's and Q's getting around this place.
Across the front stretch of the D-shaped oval is pit lane, and that's where we find Marty Snyder. Hey, Marty.
Hey, guys, good morning, and it's 9:30 a.m., and Junior's talking about 95 degrees as a track temperature. Obviously, the heat is going to be a big story here in Texas today. Everything's bigger in Texas, including the temperature, which is going to rise to 97 degrees Fahrenheit here this afternoon, which means temperatures inside the car around 130 degrees for these drivers and a heat index of 106. So I know, Junior, you said it makes the racing potentially great, but behind the wheel, what does that do for a driver? I know you had to hydrate all week long to come into Texas this week, but behind the wheel, that's got to be pretty warm for the driver here this afternoon.
Yeah, the comforts inside the car have changed quite a bit over the last couple of years. There was a big focus for many years about getting cool air into the helmet. And now the teams have went to a cool vest that cools the torso of the driver. A lot of drivers will be wearing that. But you gave up that cool air going into the helmet. You can't have both, right? Okay. So it pulls too many amps. You don't want to draw too many amps and risk, having an issue there. So the teams want to be able to push amperage and run fans on all other areas of the race car for performance. And so you have to tell the driver, hey, do you want the cool air going into the helmet, or do you want it on the torso with that cool vest? A lot of drivers take the vest, and so it's very uncomfortable inside the helmet. Really, really hot and miserable. You're constantly, every straightaway, wiping sweat off your brow to keep it out of your eyes. It's a very difficult challenge.
How do you do that at 180 miles an hour?
You're busy. You're busy, especially in a place like Texas when it gets this hot.
Yeah, and when you talk to drivers, too, one of the things they always tell me at this racetrack is when you're under a red flag or you have to sit somewhere, that's when it really gets miserable. Yeah. You know, no air moving at all. You're just sitting there cooking.
You don't have a chance to really think about it when you're racing and moving on the racetrack. But you're right, Brad. Those red flags are the worst. You feel like you're going to die in there.
See our clock in the upper left-hand side. 20 minutes of practice for these cars. Everyone in the pool at one time. Right there, you're looking at last week's winner, Justin Allgaier. New contract, brand sponsorship back again next year. But this week, he's in the Reese's car. Brad, that made you smile.
Oh, that's my favorite race car in the world because of those Reese's. But no, I'm loving what Justin Allgaier's been doing last several weeks. We saw him get 2 big wins at tracks he's struggled a little bit at, Daytona and then at Bristol. I think he's the odds-on favorite to win this championship thus far.
Last week at Bristol, he checked off another box. Now, he'd won at Bristol before.
13 years ago, Dave.
Yep, long time.
Yep.
One win for Junior Motorsports, and he did it in fine fashion, coming back through the field after taking tires.
Absolutely, just went tooth and nail fighting to win that race at Bristol. I think this young man, he's a veteran of this series, and we've watched him fight to try to win these championships. Hadn't been able to do it. I think he's well on his way.
Junior got that ride up the ramp into victory lane and could celebrate with his driver.
Yeah, I was disappointed not to get the result I wanted that night, but we were able to go to victory lane either way. And man, watching these cars out here on this racetrack right now, trying to figure this racetrack out, is so unique because of the reconfiguration down in turn 1 and 2. There's a lot of off throttle in 1 and 2. So we're watching Justin come down the front straightaway. This corner here. Oh, we got to spin down the back straightaway. 11 cars going to make contact with the wall there.
That is Lane Riggs, his first Xfinity Series start for Colleague Racing, and he's around.
Big damage to the left rear quarter panel on this car. I think he might have avoided damaging the rear clip of the car, but that's some pretty good damage to the body. And even if they are able to repair this car for Lane, it's going to limit his ability to be out there and practicing. He's got a few rare starts in the Truck Series and in the Xfinity Series, needs all the laps he can get out here today to be able to get up to speed and get comfortable at this racetrack.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, we were talking about 1 and 2 being treacherous, but as we were talking out of the corner of my eye, coming off of 4, I saw a couple cars just skate up towards the wall.
Yeah, the track seems to be pretty slick right now. I've seen that as well. Yeah. Cars getting up the racetrack in turns 3 and 4, but here it is, Lane coming off of turn 2, really high, just gets up in the dirty stuff. A little bit too high on exit, and the car comes around kind of slow and easy.
Is that Jeb Burton, playoff driver, just getting by him there?
Oh, man, yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
So Lane's upbringing was from the Cars late model tour. Then Junior mentioned a handful of Craftsman Truck Series starts. He's had 6. This is his big debut, and not the way he wanted to start.
Yeah, so he's going to take this car back behind the wall to the garage. They'll try to get to understanding how much can be repaired or what the team may do to either get that car ready or get a backup car out for the race later today. But again, not on the racetrack, not running laps. Driver who doesn't have much experience in this type of race car on this tire. The tire that he's comfortable with in the late model stocks is a bias ply tire. Not a lot of time on the radials, especially at the 1.5 mile racetrack. So a lot of people are really excited about Lane. Really excited about his future in either the truck or the Xfinity Series. Obviously has a great lineage with his father, who raced in the Cup Series for many years.
Yeah, it's like you say, missing this practice time is going to be critical because now you'll have to go for that, try to qualify that race car, then you got to go race. So it's going to be a tough weekend for this young man. He's going to learn a lot of lessons, and I'm glad you brought that up. That bias ply tire that they race on those late models, I mean, that thing has so much grip.
Yeah.
You can drive off that right rear tire so hard, and you get on this radial tire, you will bust your rear end. So learning, you know, that radial tire is critical when he gets it. So he needs this track time. It's going to be a tough weekend, but great learning experience.
A lot of good-looking race cars this weekend with their sponsors on board. One extra decal on every car this weekend will be to honor Sherry Pollux, the longtime girlfriend of Martin Truex Jr., who started a foundation called Catwalk for a Cause to help young kids with cancer, and she lost her battle with cancer just last week, and we'll miss her. Great lady for others to strengthen them, and so many people have come out and said just how much she meant to them as they had their own battles to deal with. We remember her that way on the cars this weekend. Green flag is back out at Texas, and after a halting start, some near misses, and then unfortunately first race for Lane Riggs into the wall off of turn 2. The learning process continues. Average speed 181, fastest for Allgaier. There's Sam Mayer.
Yep. Watching Sam try to get his car up to speed. He's trying to give himself a little bit of room here, some clean track. I think from what I'm seeing, you want to stay right in that bottom groove right now. That track doesn't look very clean, or it looks a little slick and edgy when you do move up off the bottom of the racetrack or allow the car to drift up off the bottom, exiting the turn.
Sam, one of those playoff drivers who had trouble at Bristol last weekend, finds himself 14 points below the cut line to start this weekend.
Coming into a spot, though, where he's had some success. He was third here in the spring race, has 2 top 10s here, so it's a good racetrack for Sam. I think he'll get right back in the groove this weekend during this race. It's a good day for him. I think he could win this race today as well.
Here's what got Sam in trouble last week. Josh Berry, his teammate, going to the bottom side, and some contact there with him. Also collected Brandon Jones, who was having a strong night as well.
Yeah, they had contact on the straightaway, and it cut the right front tire of the 8 car, and he went down into the corner, and the car just goes right. These guys all got together this week, and we got in the competition meeting and talked it out, tried to clear the air so these guys can move forward and focus on what's important, and that's trying to get into the next round of the playoffs, going to Texas and having a great weekend. So some hurt feelings, some frustrations after the race. But if you have fast race cars and you put a lot of them on the racetrack, they're eventually going to run into each other at some point. As a car owner, that's an unfortunate sort of situation you're going to find yourself in from time to time.
Funny you should mention that. We're going to move on to Sheldon Creed here in the 2 car. He had contact with his teammate Austin Hill last week. Made neither one of them very happy, and they came away with some hurt feelings too.
Yeah, that was a tough situation. I think Creed has, he's had a tough year. I think a lot of people, especially even he would say that they've expected more out of his season. Here's a look at what happened last week. Come up off the corner, made contact. I'm sure he felt terrible about the end result of this, meaning the 21 car of Austin Hill's out of the race. You never want to take your teammate out of the race or have contact with your teammate. So there was a lot of that going on amongst several organizations last week.
There it was.
Creed still sits +4.
He ended up 11th, Junior, in the race, so he was okay.
He's able to salvage a reasonable result and still in a very good position to try to move forward in the next round of the playoffs and maybe, turn the season around and have a positive finish to a season that's kind of been frustrating for this 2 bunch. There's a 21 of Austin Hill, bottom of the screen. Marty.
So, Junior, I'd love to get your take on this as you watch that replay, since you were in the race at Bristol last Friday night. So after the race, both DJ and Kyle felt like that wreck was actually Austin Hill's fault, that he had a lot of room to his right to be able to move up. So what's your take on that as you watch the replay between what happened to Austin Hill and Sheldon Creed last weekend? Do you think that the 21 maybe had a little culpability in that as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's a racing accident. I wouldn't put it all on either driver, certainly not entirely Creed's fault, but being the guy that's following, you do share more responsibility to understand where the cars are around you, particularly your teammates. You got to take a little bit more care of your teammate out on the racetrack. And it was avoidable. Both drivers could have done things differently to maybe avoid the crash. But like I said, you've got 2 fast race cars, put them on the racetrack, and at some point in the season, there's going to be those type of situations where they're going to race each other hard. Somebody's going to be frustrated. Somebody's going to be mad about how the racing went.
Brad, the other thing that happened at Bristol, other than contact with teammates, is mechanicals. That place takes a toll, and Parker Kligerman had a wheel bearing go out on the 48.
Yeah, you know, Parker coming into Bristol was really optimistic. You know, they really were starting to run. They had really solid runs over the past several weeks. We've been, you know, obviously chronicling Parker's drive to try to make it to the playoffs and such, and they've really raced hard, did a good job. This team has overachieved and they put themselves in good positions. And yeah, mechanical last week, but you come into this mile and a half, gives him a great opportunity. He was 4th at Kansas, the last mile and a half we're at, so I think this is a good day, another chance for another driver to take advantage of a good mile and a half racetrack.
Lap times right now look really good for this car, sitting 4th overall on speed, and I've been impressed by their ability to improve the cars over the season. When it came time to the playoffs and they were in, they started bringing better race cars to the racetrack. Yeah. They started providing Parker with opportunity and speed so that he could then get the results that they're trying to get. Their cars got a lot better, and so good job by the team. Driver's always working, trying to go out there and run the best corner he can run, but the team's got to get better. The car's got to improve, and you've got to do all those things at the right time. So they came prepared when the playoffs started.
Veteran crew chief Patrick Donahue leading the charge there for this young team, and Kligerman looking to find a way into the next round. So, Marty, the 11 car of Lane Riggs damage in the opening laps. What's the update?
Yeah, you can see that left rear damage as the team looks over the repairs that need to be made. Lane said, you know, the slickness of the racetrack just totally caught him off guard. I did check in with Chris Rice. They are going to be able to repair this car. They will not have to go to a backup car for Lane Riggs. And standing by here and just kind of observing all of the repairs to this car, a familiar face. His dad, Scott Riggs, here. You might know him from Cup Series fame, also Xfinity Series racer as well. And that is Lane Riggs' dad, Scott Riggs, certainly a familiar face here in the garage area. But you know, Junior, it's already tough for young drivers, especially a driver making his first ever Xfinity Series start with the limited practice sessions, but Lane getting no practice. What kind of challenge will that be for him today here at Texas?
I think you reevaluate your goals, right? When you have a situation like this happen, then you kind of change your expectations of the day, what you want to learn, what you want to achieve. And he'll have to be modest and conservative in those goals and what he wants to take from the day. But I would say to Lane, hey man, these things happen to everybody. I mean, Jeff Gordon, his rookie year, he tore up all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, he did.
So, you know, I hate to use Jeff as an example, but he turned out okay.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to go through these moments. They are hard and they break your heart, and this is happening in front of the entire series. You're trying to impress everybody here, obviously not getting an opportunity to do that. Now go out in the race and show people you can put those things behind you. All right, go out and just run all the laps. That is always the thing that I would do is when a driver's in a tough situation, is say, hey, let's just run all the laps today. Let's just learn what we can learn throughout the race. No expectation on result or competitiveness. Just go complete the race, and you'll be a better race car driver at the end of the day. And I think that's where he needs to shift his expectations now. Don't go out there and try to, do anything that's going to put you in a situation to tear the car up more, right? Drawing more negative attention to yourself. Just go out there and be smart and take care of the car. Watching this 20 car of John Hunter Nemechek get around the racetrack, seeing the telemetry down there on the bottom left corner of the screen, RPMs, miles an hour, brake, throttle. It's going to be a lot different from one end of the track to the other since the reconfiguration down in turn 1 and 2. A lot of off throttle right here, a little bit of brake, slow back to the throttle to try to complete the exit of turn 2. And then a completely different scenario down in 3 and 4, more banking, more throttle, more speed.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, and since the reconfiguration of this racetrack, especially in this series, there's been more cautions here than any other mile and a half. And John Hunter Nemechek has been outstanding over the last several weeks. He's really charged hard in trying to, put himself in position to win that championship. Marty?
Brad, he won the last mile and a half race at Kansas, also won at Texas here in the past. But while we ride on board with him, Junior, it's a perfect time to talk about what you were mentioning, how different the two ends of this racetrack are. In fact, your driver, Justin Allgaier, said, I feel like we're terrible through 1 and 2, but I feel pretty good through 3 and 4, and they're the fastest car on the speed chart. How different are the two ends of the racetrack here at Texas Motor Speedway, Junior?
Yeah, you have to, you know, you're going to load the car differently in each corner because you can carry so much speed in 3 and 4. You really load the car, and the car is going to travel differently in that corner. And in 1 and 2, you can't drive in there deep because the car will slide at the racetrack, so you have to slow down. That doesn't plant the car into the racetrack, doesn't compress the car into the track as much, so the car is going to handle completely different. I'll be honest, with Justin, I don't think anybody's going to be happy with how their car drives down in turns 1 and 2. It's flat, odd entry. Look how wide this racetrack is trying to get down in that corner. And look at this car here, not very comfortable as he's sliding up the racetrack. And so no one's going to love how their cars drive in that particular corner. I think what you need to do is focus on trying to make sure 3 and 4 is as fast as it possibly can be, because that's where all the time on throttle is. If you have to lift down there, if you have to lift in 3 and 4 for anything, the whole lap's going to be slow. You need to make sure you got good grip and good ability to get through the throttle in turn 3 and 4. 16 car of Chandler Smith.
Did not love his car last week, Junior. Something odd going on with that 16, and he still got a 5th place finish out of it.
I didn't know that. He looked great when I was out there with him. A lot of fun racing with this guy. He's came on the season hot and quick. Had some great results early on. They've kind of struggled a little bit at points in the year, but I've been really impressed with him. Getting in a car that was winning races, the expectation for that car to continue to win races, continue to perform after A.J. Allmendinger moved out and went to the Cup Series for Colleague. I think Chandler Smith has exceeded those expectations. Sitting there 5th on the speed chart right now.
Yeah, I think he's a talented young man. And, you know, you watched him in the Truck Series here. He had 2 top 10s out of his 3 starts here. So there's a lot of ability there with Chandler Smith. Just needs some more experience, more seat time, and he's doing just what you were talking about, Junior. He's out there right now. He's making laps, making sure he's hitting his marks. He's gathering that data, so when he goes and qualifies, puts himself in position, he can go out and race today. So a lot of potential with this young man.
See Cole Custard here, 0-0 on track. One of the drivers we're thinking could have a breakout playoffs, and last week showed a lot of speed. Junior, he led the 2nd most laps by just 1 lap.
Yeah, so fast in qualifying last week at Bristol, and this has been an odd season for Cole. I was really worried.
Getting really free after a lap. Fixed about half the problem there.
Some good information about the car and how it's handling, but would you have guessed that this driver has 2 wins this year and they're at road courses? I mean, as good as he was at the 1.5 miles and all of the racetracks when he was in this series in years prior, he comes in this year, and I expected, you know, multiple wins on the ovals, but they have been successful on the road courses this year, and he's kind of taken a bit of a back seat to John Hunter Nemechek. I thought that Cole Custard was going to come in and have a fantastic, you know, big 6-win season this year, and it just hasn't really happened, and he's kind of been overshadowed a little bit in the playoffs, but he's dangerous to win the championship this year.
Jeb Burton here in the 27 car. Driver with a chance, and as we understand, a new race car for the team this weekend. I'm sure Brad has Jeb with a little pep in his step.
Yeah, man, this is exciting. I mean, last weekend at Bristol, Jeb was in a backup race car, and he was just absolutely driving his guts out. He was so hard to pass. I really enjoyed watching him race, and I think he come in this weekend with this new race car. I think he's a threat. I think he's a threat to advance just because of the stick-to-itiveness. He's a smart race car driver. We know Jeb's got some talent, and last weekend he showed the mental acuity. He is a tough guy. He's not going to give up a spot easily, and he raced to a strong 13th place finish. So I think he's the guy to watch today. I think this could be a big day for that 27 car.
Jeb currently 18th on the single lap times. Take a look at the 18 of Sammy Smith running down Parker Retzlaff in the 31 car.
And he's getting a great education right here following this 31 about what his car can and can't do in traffic. You don't really always get that opportunity in practice to really run behind a car for an extended period of time to understand what that's going to do to how the car handles. You're going to lose a little bit downforce, a little bit of front turn. The car may get looser in certain areas or certain situations behind this 31 car.
Sammy's a playoff driver just above the cut line coming into this race. So with 2 to go, he's got to make something happen here today, at least not lose.
Yeah, Sammy struggled a little bit before Bristol. You know, he had a 9th place finish there, but he had a streak of races, man, like 7 races where it's 17th or worse. And, you know, he's got 1 start here. So today is a big day. He's got to maximize his opportunity. Like I say, run all the laps, get a good, strong finish. Try to stay out of trouble. Keep those fenders clean. Got to get some more finishes up in that top 5.
See the clock still running on the upper left there. NASCAR did add 2.5 minutes after the red flag period early for the Lane Riggs spin. And there you see the 10, the orange 10 of Daniel Hemrick.
Yeah, Daniel's done a great job in the playoffs, sitting in 6th right there, plus 12, and had almost got a win last week at Bristol. Led a lot of laps late, ended up running 2nd in that race. He's another driver that has been overshadowed a bit this year due to performance. But as the playoffs, when the playoffs come around and the pressure mounts, you see a lot of drivers, especially the younger drivers, making the mistakes, the typical mistakes that you would expect. This guy right here, oh, big loose right there. Up the racetrack he goes. More and more sideways. That's where Lane Riggs was when he was starting to get looses up off the bottom of the racetrack. Good save by Daniel right there, but this is a driver that knows he can't afford mistakes, so he's not going to make any in these races. That makes him dangerous to move through the playoffs. As we see him get down in the corner, and the car just steps out right there. Then he goes up the racetrack, and it's really slick right here. Really slick. Just have to kind of just get off the corner. Don't get back to the gas. Don't try to get back to racing just yet till you get back to the back straightaway when you're way up off the bottom of the racetrack like that.
And yet he stays out, Junior, so he's obviously still wanting to learn something there.
Yeah, with such minimal amount of practice, you can't afford to come to pit road. There's Trevor Bayne on the racetrack in this 19 Interstate Batteries Toyota.
Yeah, another guy was strong at Bristol last week, and it's 3rd start of the season for Trevor. Just one of those guys you always pull for. Nice young man, great attitude, and he's trying to make the most of this. This is an opportunity for him, and he realizes that. He's only going to be in this car a few times. He wants to show that he still has the capabilities. I think Trevor wants to try to get himself back into racing full time. So today's a big opportunity for him. Coming to a racetrack that's hard to get around. He's a smart race car driver. He's a veteran race car driver. This is a good opportunity for Trevor to show what he can do.
So Trevor left racing, right, and went and built a business selling coffee, making coffee.
Roasting coffee.
Yeah.
I
Right?
like drinking coffee.
He sold that business.
Okay.
He's putting his efforts and his focus back to try to get full time in something behind the wheel of a race car, whether it's a truck, Xfinity, or a Cup car. And he has to win. I know that people probably hate to hear that, but he would admit this. He's like, I've got to win. I've got to win to be able to prove to people for people to take a look at me and really consider me for a job and for a full-time ride. I've got to go out here in this 19 in this Joe Gibbs car and win races.
Yeah, because you got to remove someone. You got to move someone out, and you've been gone. So you're coming back, and you have to step into this opportunity. And if you win one of these races, it puts that spotlight right back on you. If you don't, everyone said, well, it's a great race car. He was a good race car. He's not been around. We got a young guy coming along. You're exactly right. He's got to go out. He's got to win one of these races.
Brad, how hard are comebacks for professional athletes?
And it's so difficult because things aren't the same as when you leave. When he left this series, race cars were a little bit different. The talent was a little bit different. You come back now, and everything has changed. So you have to step your game up 100%. And I think he's done that. He's shown great speed when he's been in the car. He's put himself in good positions. But putting together a race, and Dale Jr. will tell you that better than any of us, is the most difficult thing to do, no matter who you are. And he's got to get back to the point where he can put that race together throughout the day. And he's come close a couple times.
Let's take a look at the top 10 times from this session. These are single lap times. Also got some averages we'll share with you. Justin Allgaier was actually fastest in both 10-lap averages and single lap time.
Yeah, the yellow drivers indicate our playoff drivers. It's Kyle Weatherman down there in 10th with a great lap in that 91 car. Kyle always overachieving, finding more speed.
And that's how they look after a 20-minute session that was extended just a little bit to give them some more time on track. Marty, you've had your eye on the 8 of Josh Berry. He was second quick in single lap times.
Yeah, pretty impressive single lap time there from Josh Berry. Maybe even more impressive was Taylor Moyer's plan to make a long run if they could. So Josh Berry did 17 consecutive laps, then immediately hopped out of the car, did not get back in the car. I'll take that as a good sign for the number 8 team, who all of a sudden find themselves in the cellar of the Xfinity Series playoffs. So, Brad, I want to know from you, Josh will admit, Not a great road course race. So the Roval wraps up this round for the Xfinity Series. Is today really make or break for Josh Berry's playoff run here at Texas, you think?
You know, Marty, I absolutely think today is make or break. Just has not performed up to the level that we expected from him. I expected Josh to win several races this season, and it just hasn't happened. And now all of a sudden we're at the end of this thing like we talk about all the time. You can't just expect it to all of a sudden happen. He has to go out there. Josh Berry needs to win this race today. He needs to win it for multiple reasons. You know, not only to continue to advance on the playoffs, I think he still has a little bit of something to prove. I know he's going Cup racing next year, but I think he needs to prove that he can get it done still. We've lost contact with Josh Berry, the Josh Berry we saw last season. Want to see that today. So, yeah, this is a make-or-break day for him as far as I'm concerned. He has to go out and win this race.
Yeah, I feel like that talking to Josh, he doesn't feel like it's a must-win situation, but it's a must-run good. It's a must-get playoff stage points in both stages. It's a must-go out and finish in the top 5. They feel great about their mile-and-a-half efforts and think that they can certainly go out there and do those things. But I don't believe that, if they can gain maybe 15 points on that cut line here this weekend, I think that puts them in a really great shape for the Roval. If he gains nothing this week, then they're in big trouble because you pointed it out. The Roval is really not a great racetrack for a lot of these drivers in the field. None of them want to go there and have to make up a big chunk of points.
Want to follow up on that top 10 run for the 91 of Kyle Weatherman yesterday in the garage area. Ran into a young man named Landon Mills, 18 years old, planning to be a freshman somewhere in college next year. He designed the paint scheme or the wrap scheme on this race car in a contest that happened on iRacing. So
awesome.
He's an iRacer, got involved in the contest, and so Landon Mills very proud to see that 91 for DGM Racing up in the top 10.
Yeah, got a little North Carolina Tar Heel blue in that thing. That thing looks good. That's a good-looking hot rod right there, Nats.
Marty, what do you think? Is that North Carolina blue on the 91?
Well, I knew Brad was going to go there with the Carolina blue. I just knew it before he even said it. Let's talk with the fastest man here in Texas, Justin Allgaier. And you said it looked fast, but 1 and 2 was more of a handful than 3 and 4. What were you dealing with over there?
Well, this racetrack with the reconfiguration, the different shape, 1 and 2 is such a different radius than 3 and 4. And, I just had to say I'm proud of the guys and gals back at the shop. I mean, we've had so much consistency between race cars this year, and that's really hard to do with different chassis and different bodies and things like that. And to have the consistency that we've had, it's been really special. And, to come here and to fire off, I mean, obviously it's still a lot cooler than it's going to be this afternoon, but I love racetracks that are hot and slick. I don't know if that was quite as fast as Xfinity 10G, but it was pretty close. But when you look at this race car, we got the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup Reese's Peanut Butter Dessert Cup Ice Cream Camaro. It looks pretty good. I feel like dessert in Victory Lane would be pretty special, but we got a long way to go to get there, but we're starting off the day strong.
I know Bristol is one that you desperately wanted to knock off, but what does a win in the first race of a round do for a race team?
Less gray hair going to the next one. I've got plenty of it to start with, but, to win at Bristol, that's been such a bucket list race for me since the first time we won there, and that's almost 15 years ago. To be able to go back there and win, to accomplish something we've struggled with. Now we go into these races, into these next 2 where there's no pressure. We can go have fun and we can kind of lay it all on the line and we can gamble a little bit. We can try some new stuff and obviously right now it's doing what we want it to do. But when you're in that moment of trying to gain points week in and week out, sometimes you're afraid to go outside the box. And Jim Pullman and this whole 7 team have done a great job. All 4 of our Junior Motorsports Camaros are fast today. The short run is one thing, but I think the long haul is going to be another story. Making sure that you're there at the end of this race is going to be really important. So we got a work cut out for us, but proud of the effort, proud of the team, and I get to have the fun job of driving this thing. It's nice today.
Can I just say real quick, there's no bigger fan of Reese's Cups in the world than Brad Daugherty. Can you get some ice cream to the booth for the 7-foot guy?
I will do my best job to do that today. I don't know if we can make it happen, but I will do my best job to make it up. So Brad, if you're listening right now, I will do my job to get you something.
Oh, you don't
Brad,
have to worry. I'll come to you. I'll come to him.
Do not say I never did anything for you, Brad Daugherty. I mean, I'm trying to get you some Reese's. Not that you don't have about 48 of them on a normal race day, but just trying to help you out.
Hey, I'll meet him on the racetrack. He doesn't have to come to me. I'll come to him wherever he's at. That's good looking out, Marty. I've got a little Reese cup over here in the corner, as a matter of fact, right now, and I love it. I mean, I think this is a perfect day for Justin Allgaier. I've always said when I watch him race, he likes a race car that's just a little bit looser than everyone else's. And this is the type of racetrack that he can go out and absolutely put it on. He's sat on the pole the last 2.5-mile racetracks we've been at because he's fast at these places. You better watch out for that 7 car today.
If he does it here at Texas, it'll be a challenge, no doubt, as it always has been here in the playoffs.
A gorgeous afternoon in the Lone Star State.
Oh, got a car spinning off turn 4.
So it's Jeff Burton.
Stretch, caution down.
Oh, and a couple cars involved.
And we're done.
Chastain comes down the racetrack, then they all get crowded up.
Oh, we got cars sideways.
Hustle to close that gap in front of me to the bottom.
Oh, he's loose!
Oh, no, he's in the wall!
Hard into the wall.
Wow!
Another big melee.
He's going to have one chance as they come out of turn 4. He goes by Noah. Harrison Burton's going to win at Texas.
I've never driven anything harder than that last corner in my life.
Got Hunter Nemechek wins at Texas.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Had to win to prove to myself that I can do this. I wanted to get back to victory lane.
Just some of the highlights over the years of the NASCAR Xfinity Series here in the playoffs. This is actually, they've raced here 45 times with the playoffs, a recent addition. And you can see on the left where they stand on the playoff grid right now. A couple of drivers safe. The win for Allgaier last week. Nemechek plus 65. Custer probably good, but Austin Hill on down. Got some work to do.
Yeah, and I think we want to pay attention to where, from 7th on down, Sammy Smith, Creed on down, where do they qualify? Can they put themselves in the top 10 here today to be able to give them a chance to get stage points in stage 1? The stage is really short, right? So we're not going to have an opportunity to do any strategy or anything to get you that track position. You have to qualify well to give yourself that shot.
Marty, Josh Berry was second quick in single lap times.
Yeah, let's chat with him. And so Taylor Moyer told you, I'd like to make a long run when he came on the radio. Does 17 straight laps mean that's a good sign for the 8 car?
Well, I think we're close. I feel like obviously the takeoff speed was really solid. Built too tight the longer we ran, which is a pretty normal characteristic of here. So we definitely need to make some adjustments, I think, just to hang on longer in the long run. Obviously, it's going to get a lot hotter this afternoon, so I feel like that's going to get worse. So we need to make some adjustments there to help it. But overall, we need a good day, and we're off to a good start.
Roval looming. I know you said you need a good day, but Junior made the point a moment ago, maybe not a must-win for the 18, but how important is a very high points day, though?
Yeah, that's it. It's exactly what I told him. We don't feel like we're in a must-win, but we're in a must-run good, right? So it's as simple as that, really, right? We need to, we've practiced well already, which is a great start to our day. I know these guys have been working really hard trying to get us better and get closed in on this deal, and we need to have a good qualifying effort here. If we do that, hopefully we can turn that into stage points. And if we can start stacking this momentum out of one day, and we get a solid finish, we'll fight our way back into this thing and have a chance next week.
There you go. Only a handful of races left in his Xfinity Series career, and he would love, Dave, to go out as an Xfinity Series champion. Got a lot of ground to gain, though, between now and advancing to the next round.
Taking a call there, figuring out how to get it done is Josh Berry. Between practice and qualifying, always curious about what drivers do. As soon as Cole Custer got done with his practice, Junior, he was doing a little something with the steering wheel here and a ink pen and a paint pen.
Yeah, I think he's going to mark the column of the steering wheel, the splines there, and match it up so he knows when he puts the steering wheel on for the race later, that will be straight, right? You can offset that incorrectly left or right, and what you'll have to do is once you pull off the racetrack is stop and reset the wheel, and now you have to pull back up to your position. Well, he's trying to avoid doing any of that when the race begins, so once he puts the steering wheel on, it'll be straight and he'll be happy.
Sounds like maybe that's happened to you at least once in your career?
Every single time you get in a race car and you put the steering wheel on, you got to move forward, back, trying to make sure you got that steering wheel on straight, and still sometimes you won't have it properly on there until you get up to speed and get on the back straightaway, and you're like, oh, no, the steering wheel's not straight. We've got to stop.
So Junior can know from personal recent experience too. How about your week last week? How fun was that?
Oh man, it went so good. I was a little nervous about how we were going to run. When I went out there to run practice, man, I was like, I'm in over my head. I made a big mistake. Why did I do this? But like 30 or 40 laps into the race, we got this going pretty good, and eventually got to lead some laps. And then had an electrical issue under the dash or next to the leg board. It caught the leg board on fire. And so didn't get the victory lane in my car, but I rode with Justin up there which was fun.
Man, you were so fast, though, Dale.
It was great.
You were flying.
We prepared really, really hard. I think I did more work in that to prepare for that race than I typically would have any other time in my career. And that's something that's changed in this sport. The drivers really are busy all week long. I said to them, I said, just treat me like a rookie. Tell me everything. Don't assume I know anything. Put me through everything that all the other guys are doing. So it worked out.
It's already been announced Junior's going to be back at Homestead racing in that 88 car, and I talked with JRM management yesterday. They told me they put it in the corner and they're going to just buff it up for Homestead.
We washed it off, and we're going to run that same car as we watched Dawson Cram go down into turn 1 on his green flag lap, drifting up the racetrack just a little bit right there in the middle of the corner.
This will be his first start at Texas if he can make it. Not a guarantee, because a couple of cars will have to go home. 40 cars for 38 spots today.
Yeah, this is his first start in the Xfinity Series at Texas. He has 2 starts here in the Truck Series. Finished 18th there, his best finish. So got a little bit of experience, but this is a different animal. Going to have to go out and lay down a pretty solid lap.
He was 30th in practice, so that's overachieving with the 74 car. That really is. So 30th in practice, and right there, that 21 would have been good enough for 12th in practice, Marty.
Junior, let's check in with John Hunter Nemechek before we get too deep into qualifying here. I notice you're studying SMT here. So when you're studying that, what are you learning?
Just trying to figure out where we're lacking speed over the long run. There were a couple cars that were better than us, I felt like, on the long run. So hopefully we can get our Romco Toyota GR Supra tuned up to be as fast as Xfinity 10G today. But most of all, just studying where I'm getting beat. You'll hear it a lot on the radio during the race from crew chiefs studying SMT or watching SMT and relaying that information over. But here after practice and trying to figure out what we need for race adjustments going into today's race, it's on me. So learn as much as I can.
It's crazy to think there have only been 3 like traditional mile-and-a-half races this year in the Xfinity Series, but 3 of the next 4 playoff races will be at mile-and-a-half tracks. Can you guys take advantage of that, winning the last race at Kansas? Clearly, you're good at mile-and-a-halves.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I've been really fast here in a JGR car over the last 2 years at Texas, and the mile-and-a-half program here at Joe Gibbs Racing, it has definitely been really, really good. So hopefully we can capitalize on it. I'm looking forward to today, looking forward to trying to lock ourselves into the next round today and then focus on the next round. And 2 of them are mile-and-a-halves, and 1 is Martinsville, and 3 really good racetracks for this organization and myself.
And he mentions how good they've been at Texas, Dave, in a JGR car. Remember, he won here 2 years ago in this race, driving for Joe Gibbs Racing.
Yes, he did. That 54 car was fast that day. You see Sage Karam taking the 66 around, putting it just below Kyle Sieg, who also took laps in 1 of 4 RSS racing cars entered here this weekend. Now it's Patrick Emmerling's turn.
Just a little bit up off the bottom of the racetrack there. Didn't really get right down to the bottom and finish the corner well, so you can see how it cost him some time down the back straightaway.
See these young guys, and another guy, you know, that's what this series is all about, though, is opportunity. Has 1 start here. And so this is an opportunity for him to continue to grow and learn and get more experience.
Emmerling a 30.3, and we'll put him 4th. Right now, this is the team car, and the co-owner of Emmerling Gase Motorsports is Joey Gase.
Joey's got a lot of experience. Does a good job with this race car. He's a good racer, you know, smart racer, puts himself in good position, gets good solid finishes from the performance that he has in this race car. So should get a good qualifying run in here.
Joey was 36th in practice.
See what he could do here.
Smooth up off the line. He's going to be off of the lap of Kyle Sieg. Can he beat his teammate? That's a big question. Yes, he did. Qualifying underway here. 20-minute practice session just prior to this. And they're lined up with some of the faster playoff cars coming out late. So it'll be down to who's quickest near the end here. Just 1 lap of qualifying in the Xfinity Series on tracks like this, and that'll be the case again today.
Yaley didn't get to the bottom of the racetrack there. Cost him a lot of time down the back straightaway. Went down into 1 and just couldn't turn the wheel, or either it was tight up the racetrack or he's losing the back of the race car a little bit. It cost him, and it's happening here again as well in turn 3 and 4.
Crosses the line, and yes, he's going to be 6 out of 6 here. Again, 38 cars will start the race. 2 will have to go home. 3 stages, 300 miles. It'll all happen at 3 o'clock on USA.
So 07 here of David Starr. David from Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Raced in the Truck Series for many, many years. Had a great career in the Truck Series and makes an occasional Xfinity start here in his home state.
Team told me yesterday you can't have a car at Texas without a star in your car.
You can, man.
There he is.
Always enjoy talking to David. Been around a long time. Hard-nosed racer's done a good job. He's got 26 starts here in the Xfinity Series, so got a little experience. Been around a while, and another guy who gets a good finish for the equipment. Really takes care of it. He's a good guy to have in your race car if you want to, build a program. You can get some good data, good feedback from a guy like David Starr, and I'm a big David Starr fan.
This is Garrett Smithley. Garrett's one of the cars for JD Motorsports this weekend. He'll drive the 4. Had a nice conversation with him yesterday. A lot of Texas-based sponsors around this weekend. He mentioned that his longtime friends, Jeff and Luann Miller from Trophy Tractor, are here this weekend, and glad he could spend some time with them down in Burleson, just south of Fort Worth.
Yeah.
He was 24th in practice, but this lap right here, he's not going to be very happy with it. I don't know where the speed was. He just did not get down through turn 1 and 2 very well, and the whole lap he's just kind of bleeding out a lot of speed there.
Tiptoeing, perhaps.
Yeah, and that was 2/10 slower than practice, just loose. So he's just not got a lot of grip in the back of the car. Very nervous.
Marty Parker Klickerman was 4th quickest in practice.
Yeah, pretty impressive lap, Dave. When we go back to the last mile and a half at Kansas, he finished top 5 there as well. So kind of the same speed as Kansas, or maybe not quite as good?
In fire-off speed, I think we're better, Marty. Long run speed there in practice, we fell off pretty hard, but I think we know why. So we'll make some adjustments, hopefully, to sort of counteract that a little bit. We just got really, really tight. It made us fall a little bit behind some of the competitors out there. We were like, wait a second, what happened here? But yeah, if we can go get a good qualifying position here, obviously put us in a great position for stage points to stage 1, stage 2, that'd be awesome. But proud of everyone at Big Machine Racing, this Spike Light cooler Chevy to have top 5 speed off the truck. I haven't been here since like 2019 in the Cup car, which had high downforce. So
like 14 in an Xfinity car, right?
So it's been a while. And I won't lie, I worked on the sim, and then I worked really hard on convincing myself how much throttle I could carry in a 3 and 4. And when I heard top 5 speed, I was like, all right, let's go. I did the right things. But yeah, that's part of the game here. This is going to be an interesting qualifying lap. You really got to go out there and sort of put it on the edge, but hopefully we can put up front.
After the mechanical at Bristol, you got a lot of ground to gain. Do you view it as we can gain part of it this weekend? I think you might be the only driver in the field looking forward to the Roval next week or in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I look at it, if we, honestly, I know I said this beforehand, but being where we are, if we just do what we've been doing those weeks prior and the speed we had at Bristol, I think if we just score stage points in all the stages, we'll have others that will maybe have misfortune or whatever. We can be there to pick that up. And if we are in position to go for a win, then we'll go take it. But I don't think we need to put that pressure on ourselves right now. We can go out and have a solid day here today, and that'll put us in a great position to roll.
There you go, Dave. So not a must-win situation for Parker yet, but they feel like they're in a decent spot to gain points this weekend and also in 2 weeks at the Roval.
Wait for Parker to go out a little bit later. Kyle Weatherman went out and put the 91 on top of the board. You also saw Daniel Dye in the red 44 for Alpha Prime Racing, trying to make his first start in the Xfinity Series here this weekend. He is currently in 5th, and this is Blaine Perkins.
Yeah, this is Blaine Perkins. This is his first start at Texas in the Xfinity Series. He's finished 26th last year in the trucks, though, so he has a little bit of experience. But again, you go out, you get a little bit of practice time, you come out, you got to qualify these cars, and then you got to go make hay. It's really hard on these young guys, these inexperienced guys in this series.
The lap by Weatherman was the fastest lap run today at a 29.63, and he was 10th in practice. So
pretty good. Yeah,
that gives us an idea, I guess, of what you might need to be running to be in the top 10, top 12 in this field.
CJ McLaughlin on track now for RSS Racing, gaining confidence in his racecraft and feeling good about this weekend so far. Let's see where that puts him. That'll put him just at the back of this group here as we see teammates catching up here.
Yep, Austin Hill saying, look now, if I go down in the corner, give me a little bit of room. Nah, And that's the one thing that has to happen, you know, and Richard Childress sat down with both of these guys last week, especially young drivers. And Dale, you've had to do it with young drivers as well. You get in those Monday meetings, and you have to kind of navigate it through with those guys and help them understand situations and move on. Yeah, veteran drivers, maybe not so much. They can kind of handle it themselves. But this is a growing experience, learning opportunity for Sheldon Creed and Austin Hill, so they'll be better for it.
See what Jeffrey Earnhardt can do. Another Alpha Prime Racing car, and it goes 10th.
I have to imagine that the track, you know, with the temperature, you know, we've seen some odd things happen as far as the tracks get faster over the course of qualifying, because every car's picking up rubber off the racetrack and making the track greener, if you will, and improving the grip in the corners. But with this track and the heat that we are expecting today, you have to wonder that going out early might still be a bit of an advantage. It was a 95-degree track temp at the start of practice. Now it's 103, so not a huge difference. But I wonder if that will benefit Weatherman, having going out so early with a car that was reasonably quick in practice. Will going out so early help him or hurt him in the overall lineup?
Joe Graff Jr. to the line. That will be 11th for Graff. Marty?
So let's chat with Austin Hill. When we last saw him at Bristol, he did not want to chat with the media, but we obviously see you chatting with Sheldon there. Everything all good? Did you guys work it out this week?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're heated after these races. Playoffs are here, so intensity's high, and you're going to be mad about situations. But no, I mean, Sheldon and I, we're really good friends off the racetrack, and we hang out, you know, on Sundays a lot of the times after a race weekend, and so yeah, we're good. We had a really nice chat on Monday, kind of just talked about the situation, on things he saw, things I saw, on what happened and what we could do to be better going forward. Love having him as a teammate. No hard feelings, anything like that. Like we're good, man. I promise you that. Have a good car here today, I think. Feel like our Global Industrial Chevrolet diesel would be a little bit better. I think the 7 car is probably class of the field right now, so we still got some work to do there. But feel really good about coming to Texas. We've ran good here in the past, but yeah, no, we're good. We're not, you know, Sheldon and I, we can handle it like men. We might say things on the radio, get mad and all that, but we're good. We're not Sam Mayer by any means.
Oh, there you go. So a little shot at Sam Mayer at the end. How about that? We'll let him go to his car. So, but Brad, I want to know from you as an owner, is that a happy way to end things between the two teammates?
Yeah, you know, and I was just talking to Dale Jr. a little bit about that. You know, especially when you have young guys, inexperienced guys like Austin and Sheldon are in this series, you want to sit down and have them talk and have an opportunity to be the mediator in between those guys and guide them down a path to where they get a resolution. If it was two veteran guys, you kind of let them work it out themselves, even if they're teammates. You don't really want to get involved in that. We've seen Rick Hendrick stay out of things between Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott. So, yeah, this is the right way to do it. And when you do that, this is the type of attitude you have, even though there seems to be a little bit of a prickliness towards Sam Mayer.
Well, I think that he's right. I mean, the one thing I didn't like about last week was the comments by Sam and Jones about the accident with Josh Berry. You know, you got your teammates, you bite your tongue, you get out, you have a private conversation about it, and you don't throw rocks and stones at each other in the media. And that was the only thing that disappointed me about the whole thing. So I think Austin's got a great point there, and I love the interview all the way up, you know, until Sam Mayer
you throw stones at everybody else.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you know, he's out there trying to get a mental edge
that's right.
in the playoffs with these drivers. But I loved everything he said about how he and his teammate were going to handle it and how they have handled it, and he squashed it, right? It's put to bed. There's no more concern going into this race today that's going to carry on. That's what you got to do. He did a good job there.
Well, and I think, too, the fact is we see Brandon Jones going to the top of the board here, and you also saw title sponsor Andy's Frozen Custard on the Anthony Alfredo car, the 78, go out, because they're good friends off track, and he's legit right about that. They've been friends. They're staying friends, and they want to stay friends.
Yeah, and I agree. You watch the incident, you know, it's Bristol, man. You're getting after it. You know, it's elbows up flying around that place, and that was a 2-foot room, there's 2 foot of error there, 2 foot of room to make a mistake, and it happened. You move on from that. Yeah, you're going to be heated afterwards, and everybody else around it's going to talk about it. But that was very smart what Austin Hill did. He put it to bed. It's over with. There's no innuendo. There's no gaps. He didn't leave any question that everything's fine. So there's no more conversation about it.
Good lap for Josh Williams, 6th right now. You saw Brennan Poole up there in a top 5 run for him as well. And I've written down the word prickly.
And Brandon Jones was able to go out there and run a 45 to put a 9 car up at the top of the board. He was 8th in practice.
Jeremy Clements, lots of experience here. Ran into him last night between dinners. And what I mean is lots of sponsorship opportunities this weekend for him. And he ran into me and said, I'm having 2 dinners. I ate real light over here because we're going to Brazilian Steakhouse later, and I know they're going to overfeed me there. Taking care of his sponsors on Friday night.
It's a good problem to have. And Jeremy, another veteran of this series, been around a long time, does a great job in that race team. Dad's a legendary engine builder, and just a lot of fun to watch when he has success. Pull for these guys.
That run's going to put him in 3rd place right there. Jeremy was 17th overall in practice, so I think they improved quite a bit there for his qualifying lap.
Parker Chase, we don't see a lot of him in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, but making roads across several motorsports series. We've seen him in IMSA before. And now racing for Sam Hunt Racing in this 24 car. Hang on, Parker.
Another young man's coming into this series. Got 7 starts, but they're all on road courses or a drafting track. So, yeah, big good opportunity for him to learn today as well. Marty, what do you have?
Brad, let's chat with Jeb Burton. What an impressive run in the backup car, 13th at Bristol, but a brand new car for you guys this weekend. Does that add to the expectations, Jeb?
I don't know. I think it helps us on a little bit more even playing field because all these other guys get new cars every week. But it didn't almost last long. Riggs we almost got caught up into that. That was close. So too close for comfort. Our Alsco car is not bad. We're a little loose on entry. Trying to find the right balance. I made Shane tighten up a lot right here because I think that tape on the nose is going to make it worse. So we'll go pump them up and try to put a good lap together.
There you go. And Brad, I know you're feeling good about Jeb Burton this weekend. Maybe that brand new car can help advance him into the next round.
Yeah, I really do, Marty. I just like the aggressiveness, and Jeb's a veteran race car driver. This race team, Jordan Anderson Racing, who I know Jordan very, very well, known him a long time, they all overachieve. It's what they do, and it's who they are. It's in their DNA, and I expect them to overachieve today and see Jeb Burton moving on in these playoffs.
Speaking of whom, Jeb's teammate Parker Retzlaff on track now. Saw him walking around in a cowboy hat yesterday. Yes, that's a look deployed by a lot of drivers this weekend.
Well, we in Texas.
We
gotta have a cowboy hat on Texas, man. Come on. What you talking about?
Star in your car and a cowboy hat in your head, right?
Heck yeah, man.
4th for Retzlaff in the 31. Marty?
Let's chat with Chandler Smith studying some SMT. So, boy, the car 5th fastest overall, 4th fastest on 10-lap average. Is it as good as it looks, Chandler?
Yeah, I feel like we have a pretty solid capital service. This quick type product Chevy Camaro. It feels as fast as Xfinity 10G, to be completely honest with you, but we're about to find out who's going to be the fastest man here in Texas.
There you go, the Georgia boy going to try and win a pole here at the Texas Motor Speedway. And tell you what, he knows how to qualify, Dave, doesn't he? He's got a couple of poles under the belt this year.
Very, very quick in his opening season in the NASCAR Xfinity Series.
Kaz Grala slots in at the 4th spot right there with that lap. I think that's a pretty good lap for that crew. 22nd in practice, so a big pickup for them.
Yeah, Kaz has finished top 10 last 2 starts here. You know, so in his last 2 starts period, excuse me, Kaz had strong finishes. He always does a good job. Does a good job in that race car.
Ryan Sieg in the 39. I think it's the last of the RSS racing cars coming out. 4 trying to get in the show today. Ryan with the top 10 here last year in this race.
He's got 18 starts here at Texas. Another race team, you know, just a guy that pulls it up by his bootstraps and goes and gets it. And you pull for Ryan Sieg, just like you pull for Jeremy Clements. These guys come with less and they do more. And it's fun to watch him have success and get up and battle these big guys at these tracks.
Marty Daniel Hemrick in the 10 car. Nice finish last weekend, runner-up.
Yeah, almost pulled it off at Bristol, and I want to ask Daniel if that was just a good Bristol or a sign of speed to come, but when I saw your bobble in 1 and 2, I want to ask how the car is today. It doesn't seem like it's handling very well.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a battle so far with the Poppy Bank Chevrolet. Yeah, I was excited to come off the momentum from last week at Bristol. Really have a good feel for what I want, what I need, really what this race team wants and needs here at Texas, and just really can never get the front end response out of it. We wanted in practice to be as fast as Xfinity 10G internet, but yeah, the bobble you're talking about, we finally just swung for the fence on an adjustment, and I was probably being a little too aggressive there, trying to just create something to make rotation and overstepped it. But yeah, it's what it's all about. You got to be learning. Trying to learn every lap about a race car, about myself, about this racetrack as it goes throughout this heat today, and yeah, hopefully we can put that behind us and go have a solid effort and have a good race.
Yeah, Dave, they're hoping to parlay that momentum from Bristol, that second place finish you mentioned, but obviously have their hands full here today.
See how he does in just a bit. Right now, Josh Berry in the green compared to the top runner so far, Brandon Jones.
Got up the racetrack, though, on corner exit. Lost a lot of time off turn 4. Still going to be a reasonably good lap, but I bet he's going to want to have that one back. Just rushed, he went down into 3. Said, hey, I'm going to commit to the throttle, and the car just couldn't stay on the bottom of the racetrack. And here comes Sam Mayer to try to run his lap. He won't get that information about what Josh Berry did or what Josh Berry might have done better or differently, but he'll go out here and try to not to make that mistake. But that shows you how good Josh got around turn 1 and 2. Mayer a 10th off down the back straightaway. Now if Mayer can do 3 and 4 justice, he might be able to make up this lost time right here. We'll see on the corner exit. Coming back a little bit.
Definitely going the right way. Is he going to be close enough to Josh Berry? No, he'll be second, though, not off by much.
But that's where Josh's lap is vulnerable, right? So if anybody gets down into turn 3 and they're just a 10th off, they've got a real shot at it.
See how Parker does here. Parker was pretty quick in practice, pretty fast. So let's see if he can back it up. He said he has to put the race car out on the edge to go out and qualify it here. Let's see what he does.
Painting that line in 1 and 2.
Looked like he had a little wobble going down into turn 1, trying to set that nose.
But he's in great shape here down the back straightaway, gaining on Josh Berry's lap, and has a good, good opportunity here to be able to. But he gets up the racetrack as well.
Yeah, you can see that race car slide just a hair.
So talking about getting tight. So when he gets down into 3 and you go to commit to the throttle and the car gets tight, you're going to chase the front of the car up the racetrack, and that's what. That's what he's dealing with. And both him and Josh Berry, I bet, had the same exact reaction to their laps.
Austin Hill in the 21.
There's some bumps over there in turn 3 and 4, and apparently they've done some grinding to try to improve the severity of those, and they're still giving some of the drivers some issues.
Austin Hill was really good here last year, man. Almost won that race, finished second, so expecting a big weekend out of him. Let's see if he can get this car qualified. Going into turn 3, pretty good, though, Dale.
Yeah, he's only half a 10th off, so he'll be able to gain on this exit right here and probably eclipse the lap that Berry ran. It's going to be close.
Oh, wow.
Boy, not by much. A couple of hundredths right there.
Somebody's going to beat it. Look at this 27 car, Jeb Burton out there on the racetrack, left rear tire, a little bit of smoke.
You're just not going to let that stand. That turn 3 and 4 just has you bugged on the 8 car, doesn't it?
Surprised if he can hang on to the pole. Spotting the field there, a little bit of time on the exit there, but here's Jeb Burton. He's not going to be happy with this. Car just not comfortable enough to get down there and commit to 1 and 2.
It is not.
Look at the smoke on the left rear tire, just rubbing the body a little bit. Probably nothing to be concerned with.
See where this puts Jeb to start his day, and 20th. He is, you're right, not going to be happy with that. A lot of playoff drivers yet to come. Jeb is lowest on the qualifying ranks so far for playoff drivers. Sheldon Creed still looking for that first win in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Sure be nice to get it here and to move him on to the round of 8.
Yeah, Sheldon won in the Truck Series here back in 2020. So he's had some success. An interesting year. We keep waiting on him to win a race and then a bunch of races. So maybe it starts today.
He's not going to be happy with this lap. Almost a full second slower.
Well, that's surprising.
Yeah, it is.
His teammate being so fast. He's been right in there snugged up with him.
17th. That was a
wow,
very disappointing lap for him. Sammy Smith coming to the line.
Takes the green. Remember, they just get the one warm-up lap coming all the way around, and then it is on, and you better nail it.
Yeah, we talk about Sammy only having one start here, so got to go out. The fenders on this thing. Make a good lap. Wow, that was close.
Bled it all the way to the wall there.
Did. Used up all that racetrack.
And Smith to the line. That will put him in 9th.
Yeah, it just looks like Dale was saying, getting off of turn 3 in through 4. Man, if you can get that thing pointed in the right direction, there's a lot of time there that can be made up if you're not sliding.
6 cars to go. Chandler Smith, no relation. Driving for Colleague Racing.
Had some success here in the Truck Series in the past. Got a couple starts there. He's finished pretty strong. 2 top 10s in the Truck Series. So finished 5th at Bristol last week. Had a good run. Let's see what he can do.
Clock going in the right direction. Well, that's the other thing too, Junior. We haven't talked about that, holding it wide open in these turns.
Well, the speed difference in the turn 1 and 2, and you're off throttle, slowing the car down, and gives you that opportunity. You're not carrying quite as much speed as you used to down into turn 3. So if you can commit the full throttle down there and stay there, be pretty impressive for qualifying, but certainly not uncommon in Texas.
Mentioned it earlier, last ride for Trevor Bayne in the 19 car for this season as scheduled currently in the green.
Yeah, he's got a great shot at it down here if he can hold the bottom of the racetrack, and he's going to gain a bunch of time right here and
wow,
put down a good lap in the 20s.
Oh, what a good lap. Wow.
29-20.
Oh boy. You won. Good job.
4 to go. Can anyone beat that?
Well, I mean, this is great. Like we talked about, Trevor needing this opportunity and taking advantage of the opportunity. And that is a good start to taking advantage of the day.
Daniel Hemrick was a little concerned about his race car. Starts out in the green, and he's going to go right back to the red, heading through turns 1 and 2.
He did a really good job coming to the line, though. A little bit faster than Bayne once he got to turn 1, but starting to lose speed, just not able to corner as well. The car just doesn't have the grip that Trevor had.
Daniel Hemrick, he'll start the day above the cut line by 12 points, currently in 10th spot to begin.
All right, these next 3 are...
They're going to tell the tale, aren't they, Brad?
This tells the story. We'll watch these 3 and see if one of them can pick off Trevor Bayne here.
Hear him off the throttle, how much off throttle you have in 1 and 2. And drivers talking about wide open in 3 and 4, just so different how you have to drive each end of the track.
Almost held that thing wide open.
He did.
Not going to be enough.
Nope.
Bayne's lap time holds for right now, but that's second quick for Custer.
P2 right there, 29:30.
This will be a strong lap, I bet.
Bayne's teammate, Joe Gibbs Racing, John Hunter Nemechek, with 6 wins on the season. Could he add a pole at Texas? There's that breathe off the throttle Junior talked about.
Had a win here in 21. He's been good at this race.
He can't get back to the throttle right there. You can hear how patient he had to be. And it's cost him a lot of time. And you hear the difference in the throttle in 3 and 4.
Barely touching that thing in. He's barely touching it.
To Custer, though, Custer was able to carry much more throttle. We're able to listen to the 00.
Wow.
And it's a surprising lap.
Yeah.
From the 20 of Nemechek. I expected him to be up in the top 3.
Well, you know I'm pulling for the Reese Cup car.
Fastest man in practice.
I think it's because, to me, Brad, it's because it's a combination of ice cream and Reese's Cups,
Can you
right?
imagine that?
Right?
That blows my mind, man.
Two great things.
Yes.
Coming together.
Yes.
Oh, turn 1 and 2. Pretty good.
Oh, that's strong. That is strong.
Justin Allgaier, can he do it again? He's been on pole for the last 2.5 miles. Losing time here, but can he hold it close to wide open? How about that exit?
This is going to be a big lap.
Oh, it's going to be so close.
It's a big lap. He's got it.
Yes,
Wow.
Justin Allgaier.
P1,
Again.
2019, man.
Wow.
Good job.
Wow.
Heck yeah, dude. Thank you, boys.
Well, you heard him just take a breath. Wow, what a lap. Outstanding.
And the combination, Dale Jr., between what a driver wants, what a crew chief knows he can give him. I mean, Justin and Jim Pullman are just hitting right on that.
Yeah, the change from crew chiefs over the offseason was a big concern for Justin, and was this the right thing to do? He'd been with Jason Burdett for so many years, and they'd had a lot of success together. It was a big risk and a big jump, but so far this combination's starting to bear a lot of fruit here late in the season.
10th career pole for Allgaier, and it comes at a good time in the playoffs. So that will do it. 40 cars came, 38 will go into the race. It's a strong-looking front row with Allgaier and Bain.
Yeah, you got a lot of cars here that are going to start in this top 10. Josh Berry, Sam Mayer, Parker Kligerman. All these are looking for stage points right in that first stage and trying to maintain that track position all day long to try to maximize the points day.
Yeah, fast race cars up front, but then you got guys like Riley Herbst and John Hunter Nemechek and Daniel Hemrick, Sammy Smith. Those guys are a little bit back in the back. They're going to have to come from back there. It's going to be fun to watch this race today. And who's strategic enough to take advantage of opportunity and not overstep the boundaries of trying to get too much out of it.
Great qualifying run by Sage Karam there in the 66 car.
A little bit of a struggle for Sheldon Creed.
Sure.
Caught us off guard a little bit.
We'll watch his drive toward the front.
Dawson Cram, great effort there for row 13.
Yeah, Jeff Burton, not quite the effort I think that they wanted, but we saw how tough he was last week. He'll work his way towards the front.
Well, now the strategy wheels are turning, aren't they, Junior? And some of these crew chiefs said, how do I get my driver close to the front? Do I flip a stage or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, that would be an opportunity presented to you if you get the cautions at the right point in either stage 1 or stage 2. But otherwise, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. The stages are very short. You're not going to have to come to pit road and take tires of fuel during those stages. So if you can just stay out on the racetrack and be fast, you got a great opportunity keeping that car in the top 5, top 10 for some great stage points early.
Marty Snyder, that looks like a very pleased Justin Allgaier.
Yeah, it was funny. Trevor Bain walked over and joked with him, said, every week with this guy that I'm in the race, he knocks me off for the pole. 3rd mile-and-a-half pole for you this year, Justin. You told the guys, great adjustments. How was the car different in qualifying versus practice?
You know, we felt like, you know, this place tightens up over the course of a run, but those first lap or two, you know, getting the tires to come in is really important. And, you know, qualifying is that moment where it's kind of sketchy, right? You're never really sure what to expect. So I'm proud of the adjustments we made right there. You know, obviously the first battle is to start the race up front, and then you got to stay there. And, you know, this team, Jim Pullman and all the guys on the 7 team have done a fantastic job. Our Reese's Ice Cream Camaro is so good today. And we know it's going to get hotter. We know the track's going to get slicker, but just proud of the effort, proud of the team. I don't know if I can classify now as being as fast as Xfinity 10G, but we're trying really hard to get there.
Well, so let's talk about that, because everybody I talked to felt like you had the best long-run car. So what will the strength of the 7 be today? Those short runs, you got the pole, obviously, or the long runs this afternoon?
I think the strength of our Camaro is the adjustability, right? Being able to kind of adjust on the fly for those short runs or for those long runs. You know, again, just proud of the effort and the emphasis that we've put on, you know, making sure that when we get to the playoffs that we have every I dotted and every T crossed. And, you know, I feel like we're doing that right now. We're doing a great job. Puts a lot of pressure on me, you know, knowing that I got fast race cars every week. But, again, just proud of the effort, proud of the team, proud of all the things that we're doing right now. And we'll go get after it.
Boy, Dave, what would it be like for this 7 team to win the first 2 races of the playoffs? I think there's a guy sitting to your right, an owner that might be very happy if that's the situation.
Oh, he's got his eye on it, Marty. And this afternoon, starting at 3, he'll be able to see it on USA Network. That's 3 Eastern for Countdown to Green, followed by the Xfinity Series Playoffs race. And then later tonight, Super Motocross Championship, 10 o'clock on USA. Don't forget, coming up next, Cup practice and qualifying at 12:30 on USA. And of course, a little download, Dale Jr. What do you think about that 7 driver?
Well, I just know that this racetrack is going to get a lot hotter. It's going to be a completely different racetrack than what they practiced on, what they qualified on. They better hang on. It'll be slick, and it'll be tough inside that race car.
Yeah, hot race car, slick racetrack. Restarts are going to be treacherous. It's going to be a fun race to watch. Come on back and watch. It's going to be a blast.
Texas always delivers. We look forward to it this afternoon, 3 o'clock on USA.